Hi, this is Stacia, and I'm going to share a game played by one of my star students, JacobyMatt. He's our resident teenager in the group, and he played an online tournament on Chess and won the tournament. And this was his most important game, so I'm going to share it now. So in this game, he was playing against you, 999. And they were like neck and neck going for first, and one of the amazing twins, Sophia, was right behind him as well. So this is a critical game to win, and let's see what JacobyMatt did when he got the white pieces against Hugh 999. So he played d4, d5, knight f3, knight c6. Knight c6 is weird, by the way. I feel like Black should probably go for c5 and now put their knight in front, but that's besides the point. Bishop f4, bishop f5. Okay. You could call this a reverse Jabava-London system. Why am I saying that? Because Black is actually threatening maybe to go knight b5 and attack on c7. So like after e3, they didn't do this in the game, but they could try knight b5 here. I mean, you can see that, you know, that's going to create a fork. Now, there's two main defenses to this. You can go knight to a3, which just directly defends it but misplaces your knight. Or you can play this other way that I know, which is you can go check. And even though it looks silly, I tell students don't do this check if it can just be blocked by a pawn. Like, what are you doing? But in this case, we get to retreat our bishop to a4, where it does defend the threat. And next comes c3, and we're doing well there. I think so. Okay, so anyway, just a little sidestep on the Jabava, reverse Jabava in this case. Knight f6, knight bd2, e6, c3. This is normal London system stuff. Bishop d6, knight e5. I like this move by JacobyMatt. It's very London system ish, if that's a word. And why? Because I mean, I was very tempted to just take here. This is what I would normally play, but I like knight e5 better. It actually frees up a square for the other knight to come into f3, which makes a great deal of sense. Also, you're kind of giving your opponent a chance to mess up, and that's exactly what this 1800 Lichess player did. Boom. Knight takes e5. Why is this a mistake? Because we don't take back with the bishop, we take back with the pawn. And I didn't see this right away either when we were analyzing after the game. And he's like, yeah, that's just pawn fork. I was like, oh yeah, it is. I mean, that just wins material. And at first I thought I saw a way out of it, but no, there's no way out of this. They just lose material. So I love it. Take, knight g4. No problem. Bishop g3. So JacobyMatt is already winning the game. But is that the end of the story? Let's find out. e5. Black takes the center. I like the way they played that. Bishop e2. Queen g5. It's a lot of black pieces over here. I'm not sure what's going on. Bishop takes g4. Bishop takes g4. Now knight f3. That attacks the queen. Queen f5. And now JacobyMatt makes a critical mistake. He plays bishop takes e5. So let's talk about this for a second. Why is bishop takes e5 not right? And why did he play it? Okay, JacobyMatt saw that he's winning a pawn here. But the problem is your knight is pinned, so you got to see that. That's number one. Number two, though, is that when you've got pieces like this near your king and you're pinned and they're threatening e4 and stuff like this, you've got to stop and take a second. Although I can't criticize. It looks like he had 6 minutes. Okay, but he didn't spend very much time on this move. I wish he would have. Because this is what you would call a critical moment. There's pressure on you. You're winning. But black has this great center and they have threats, and you've got to react accordingly here. So I have to say that bishop takes e5 is actually a threat, or not a good move, because black has a tactic. They play bishop takes f3, and unfortunately they're up a piece right now. They won their piece back, but they're also attacking our queen. If we take back, they take the bishop. It's like actually a typical puzzle rush tactic, right? So more puzzle rush, JacobyMatt. But he's doing a lot lately, so I actually appreciate that. The more you do, the more you won't miss stuff like this. So anyway, I have to say though, I mean, I would definitely take my time in this position. I think I would definitely go for Queen A4 check. I like Queen A4 check, and I'll tell you why. Queen A4 check. Okay, I wish we were winning the bishop, but that's not the idea. Okay, the idea is that if they block Queen D7, we can just trade. Like, okay, I'm happy now. No pin. You know, when they do go here, we just bring the knight in and whatever. I mean, we're a piece up. This should be winning. So Queen D7 will be a bad idea. So they will have to go like C6. And now you're going to see my idea, which is knight takes e5. And what I like about this is that, yeah, no pin. Okay, we got out of the pin. That's what I liked about Queen A4 check. It removes our queen from the pin. Then we take the pawn. And by the way, we've got a huge threat here, right? So like, if black does nothing, I don't know what that would look like, but let's say they just like play this. Okay, that's pretty terrible. We can now just take, fork. Okay, that looks amazing. If they block with the queen, we take the rook. We don't care about your queen. The only thing I would be nervous about, and I did see this, is that they could, after knight takes c6, they can throw in this idea, counterpin. I've seen this before, and I think it's definitely an idea here. I don't know how much, but it's possible that in this position we have something like, I just want to make a threat. I mean, we did take a pawn, and we're up a piece anyway. Yeah, I think I like Queen D4. I like Queen D4. If they take the knight with the queen, we can win their bishop. So this is fine. This should be good. So they would have to take with a pawn. But if they take with a pawn, maybe we can take here, is what I was thinking. And if we do that, can they castle queenside? They can. Yeah, this doesn't, whoops. This doesn't stop it. This does not stop it. All right, I'm a little nervous, but we're still up material here. And I'm not so sure their king is all that safe there. And our queen can come back to d4. So I think this is actually great. I especially love our bishop. So I'm going to ask the engine now. And oh my gosh, it says +6. Okay, +6. All right. But whatever. Let's go back to the game. So, oh no, our hero has messed up and given the piece back. Now it's equal material, right? Equal material, and we're down on the clock. He castles queenside, which I like quite a bit. Rook d8, okay, fine. Queen f4. Now I have to say Queen f4 does not come to mind for me. I really doubt it would be the best move. You're allowing them to double your pawns. And I know I say, so we double our pawns, who cares? Well, you know, that's not totally true. You have to look at the position, and this one is an endgame. So double pawns do mean more. So like, for example, this happens in the game. They take, okay, we've got this nice 4 versus 3 over here. But when you have double pawns, it means less to have the majority. It's not as easy to get a passed pawn, and it takes more time sometimes. So like, okay, so I'm not a big fan of Queen f4, but if you ask me what I would do instead, I'm not sure. I mean, I would probably double on the d file or something, which also doesn't seem right. So I will ask the computer here what it wants. It's giving rook d4, but I'd be scared of this. And now it just wants rook d2. Oh, that's actually very sneaky. This is actually very high level here. Rook d4 is actually provocative. We want them to play c5. So we can just calmly retreat. And now this is a backwards pawn and a target. And we're going to bring our other rook in and target it. Now, oops, not like that. Like this. That is very sneaky and very cool. All right, so that's the computer's approach, which I actually think is awesome. So I like rook d4 a lot. We're also doubling. So, okay, in the game, though, he does this. And his statement to me was, I'm opening the e file and I'm first to the e file. Okay, I mean, it is true. Actually, I think he has a good point here because, all right, they castle, rook h1. This happens. c6. c6 seems like a mistake because, yeah, JacobyMatt rightly gets his rook super active on e7. So, but why did black play c6? Well, I'm going to show you why. I looked at this a little bit earlier and I was like, well, I would challenge you in the e file. But yeah, take, and take. So that's no good. You can't lose a pawn like that in this endgame. That's not going to be good. Okay, well, no problem. Instead, I'll use this rook. Well, now I take immediately. It's like the same thing. You can check me here, but I probably go king d2, right? I'm looking at the engine. Yeah, king d2. Good luck. I mean, they can't really do much from here. I mean, I've seen people do stuff like this. Like, well, first of all, they're getting checkmated, which I've kind of forgot about. Okay, so actually this just loses then. They have to play rook e8. Yeah, that's not going to be any good. I would just go here. And then they have to, like, I don't know. White's winning. So they played c6. Now we understand why they did this move. I mean, they're 1800 lead chess. They're not complete slouches or anything. He comes in, which I love. They project the pawn. Double on the e file. Now that is our e file. I agree with that. So I think white has good winning chances here. h6, h3. Now I have to admit, h3, I would play rook c7. I just like to double here as quickly as possible. Like, why not? But okay, he's pushing his majority, so it makes some sense. Ooh, and they played d4. Okay, so this is another critical moment, and I think that's the lesson from this game is like when you have to watch out for critical moments, and when you have one, make sure that's the time you treat it like a tactics puzzle, you know. So let's see what JacobyMatt did. He went king c2. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It makes some sense to me. But because this is a tough situation. They're going to take on c3 and open up their rook. Do I care that much if they do that? I don't think I care too much about this. It's 3 versus 2, but actually when the two pawns are separated, it's actually harder for black to make a pass pawn. So it's actually not a bad structure. That should be decent. This is probably a draw, that being said. The other idea, though, is that after king c2, I'd be afraid of them pushing. Now, it turns out, again, we want to be provocative and make them do this. So I misunderstood that position. What would I play here? I don't know. I don't want to take it. I don't know what I would play. I'd probably go king c2. So he really is my student. All right, so check, king d2. All right, we're blockading the pass pawn. Another idea is to play c4 at some moment. And the idea there is to not allow this pawn to come and defend. We separate it, and this creates just a clear target on d3. And then we rally our troops and win it. Okay, but let's see what happened in the game. He attacked the rook, doesn't matter. He pushes a pawn. g5, take. Yeah, g5's got to be a mistake. Yeah, JacobyMatt takes advantage of this. He immediately trades off his double pawn. That's absolutely correct. Now, the downside is that this pawn is one of those freeze pawns. Jeremy Silman, shout out to him. I know he's the late Jeremy Silman, unfortunately. But he talked about pawn freezes. And what he means is that this pawn stops the f4 push and stops the h4 push. Now, it's also kind of overworked in this case, but we won't talk about that. So, okay. Rook to e5. Rook 1 to e5. f6. Rook e6, attacking the pawn. And now, rook e8. And now it is white to move. What would you do? What would you do in this position? And now, this is why I love him as a student, because I taught him something here. I said, don't trade rooks in the endgame unless you're sure that you're winning. And he looked at this position and he saw that he's winning, and he did it. And thank you very much for that, because takes. Guess what? You win a pawn. This king and pawn endgame should be absolutely winning, and he already knew that. So yeah, our endgame calculation came in handy. Pawn there, pawn there, pawn there, or pawn there, king. That's a king, just in case I forgot, which I did. Okay, and now what? We're at a standstill, but he does this beautifully. You move your pawns up and you kind of put black in zugzwang, and that's exactly what he does. And even though this is, once again, a pawn-free situation, we're up a pawn. So you can just play king f5. And I don't know if he calculated this. Hopefully he did. But this does look good, I must say. 2 connected pass pawns. We make a queen. That check is brilliant. I like it. Bring the king over. All we have to do is stop those pawns or make another queen. Making another queen seems good. And it was in this position that black resigned. So congrats to JacobyMatt. This is a well-played game. He's been playing a lot of well-played games lately. So, you know, you love to see it as a teacher. I'm very proud of him. And I see a bright future for him in chess. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back with more. Okay, bye.